Okay, so let's begin this discussion. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Entab CampusCare EdTalks Student Special Edition. Today we have some great young minds from the schools all over the country to share their viewpoints and experiences with us. So, before moving forward, let me introduce you to Entab. With an experience of 21 years, Entab has been associated with over 1,500 schools spread across India, evolving them to become new age digital campuses by providing them mature and futuristic ERP, CRM, and mobile apps. In today's session, we'll discuss about dealing with moral policing. We'll understand that what exactly is moral policing is and how should one react to it. We'll also learn that how teachers and school staff can come forward and protect students from unnecessary remarks. I understand how you get a high staring at a young teenage girl wearing a denim shorts and a crop top and judging everything from her character to her parents who are open minded enough to let her wear what she wants. And it's okay for a boy to cry when he feels low. So, to discuss the same, we have some really young minds, young students from different schools all over the country to discuss upon this topic. So, first of all, kids, just one by one, I would just request all of you to introduce yourself and we can start with Vanshika.
Oh, what a pleasant morning. A very pleasant good morning to one and all present to here. I am Vanshika Toma from Fortune World School, and I thank Entab Campus for giving me this opportunity to express my views on moral policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanshika. Thank you so much. Next, we can go to Tanmay.
A very, very, very great afternoon to each one of you. And my name is Tanmayi Khairnar, Tanmayi Mukta Nitin Khairnar. And I'm a 10th grade student from Espalier, the experimental school, Nasik, Maharashtra. I know you all must be thinking that why did I include my mother's name? Let me tell you, like our school, we actually started an initiative wherein we add our mother's name before that of our father's name. So because like our mother, she plays an other like she is the most important person. She plays a great role in developing a child. She gives us birth. So like because of that, and we don't consider her name like nowhere. We consider her name nowhere. Not from like from light bills to the government documents. We don't mention her name. So I think we should mention our mother's name, and so I mentioned my mother's name. And I would just like to say, Ma tujhe salam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tanmay. That was so sweet. Yes, so Tanmay, Tanmay, your mother's name, your mom's name, then your dad's name, right? And then your surname.
And then yeah, ma'am. Then the last name.
Okay, great. So next up we have Shreya.
Hello everyone, I'm Shreya Singh. I'm going to represent Scholars Pride today. I feel privileged to find myself amongst great scholars like you from different schools. I'm sure that this session is going to be really interactive, interesting, and yes, informative too. It will not only expand our horizon of knowledge, but also boost our self-confidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. Yes, this session would be really gonna interesting and yes, informative. So moving on, next we have Shivani.
Okay, warm regards everyone. I am Shivani. I'm a 12th grade student and I'm from Guru Harkishan Public School, Punjab. And I am very thankful to Entab family for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this conversation. As this conversation, as Shreya said, this is a more informative and helpful to us. So I would very thankful to Entab family. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Shivani. Thank you so much. Next up we have Riddhi.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Riddhi Deokar. I am currently studying in the 11th grade, and I'll be representing the Orchid School, Pune. I look forward to a very detailed discussion on this very delicate topic and hope to get a few insights from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Riddhi. Thank you so much. Next, we have Rana. Rana Tejas. Tejas?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rana Tejas Paul Singh, a NEET aspirant from Class 12, Aisha School, Parwanu, Himachal. And I feel truly esteemed to be a part of this online discussion. To talk about myself, my interests include blog writing and on my own website, debating and public interaction, along with cooking, dancing, and being a self-taught maestro beatboxer. Well, that's about it. I'm really looking forward to gather useful information from this colloquy and share it with others to spread awareness about this underestimated threat to our society, which is moral policing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next up, we have is Ovi with us.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ovi Kulkarni, and I am a grade 12 humanities student. I'll be representing Emerald Heights International School in Indore, and I look forward to creating a good network of all of our students where we can share our opinions and thoughts on this topic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ovi. Thank you so much. Yeah, Ovi, it's a different name. Like, what's the meaning of your name? Like, Ovi, what does that mean?
So, like we have short couplets in Hindi.
Okay.
These are short couplets dedicated to God in Marathi, something like Dohi.
Okay, great. So next up we have Jyoti with us.
Hello and good noon, everyone. I am Jyoti from Apex Public School, Satish Colony, Faridabad, Haryana. My hobbies are reading books, playing, singing, and so on. I am completely honored to you to give me this opportunity to become a part of this conversation. And I also like to thank to my teachers and principal ma'am for choosing me for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you so much. Next up we have Akriti.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akriti Yadav, and I'm from Vaels International School, which is in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. And I'm extremely delighted to be a part of this discussion. And moral policing itself is a very delicate topic, and it's a very important topic, actually, that's not talked about more. And I'm extremely delighted to be a part of this discussion, and I hope we all have fun and learn.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, we have Aarini.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aarini Mehta. I study in grade 11 in the OASIS, and I'm a humanities student. Some of my interests include watching and writing a lot about football and tennis. I am starting my own blog for my favorite football club next month. And I love public speaking, and I participate in a lot of MUNs. And recently, this topic of moral policing has really affected the MUN area as well. So I'm really looking forward to a really nice discussion with these amazing people here. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Aarini. So first of all, Vanshika, I just want to, like, the first thing our audience would also like to know is what is your understanding of moral policing? And have you experienced it? Like, if you have experienced it, like, how did you react to it?
Okay, so according to me, a moral policy is just a set of values that are being adopted and followed by everyone in your country or region. So basically, it is a way to control everyone around you with your morals. It's not compulsory that controlling is always in a negative way. It can be positive too. But if your morals are correct and you truly believe them, and they are the only way for your better future, so they are good and you should follow them. But if your morals are just a way to gather mass and acquire control and attention, it doesn't really matter whether you truly believe in it or not. Or you just create an illusion in your mind that you are the guardian of the aforesaid values. So this is what all I think is moral policy about. And according to me, everyone has faced them at least once in their life. And I have faced them too. In public places, in schools, these things are quite normal. Like before going to a crowded places, girls are being told to cover themselves and not to wear shorts and skirts. So, as a responsible citizen, I am making them all understand about the morals they need to learn, and I'm trying my best to influence everyone. And I'll hope I'll make this possible one day and teach everyone the real morals. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanshika. Thank you so much. Next, Tanmay, I just want to know, your viewpoints. What is your understanding on moral policing?
And what I think about moral policing is that when a group of people they assume that they only have responsibility to ensure the code of morality, and moreover they come out with their own norms of behavior, and at times they resort to non-violent means if people deviate from their definition of morality. Like for examples, girls are they are dictate that what should they wear and what not, and they are also told or they are also dictated that which type of behavior, like the way, like how should they behave in public. But then I think girls, we know, actually we know that how and what should we wear or how should we behave, and I think that's all. And as even the like the person who said it before me, even she mentioned that everyone has at least gone through this at least once in his life, then yeah, even I have gone through it. Because people out, like when we go for outings, people don't, like if we wear some other type of clothes, they stare at us. Especially this happens in the case of a girl. So I think this should not happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Shreya, like according to you, how can moral policing in schools on dress codes, like not sitting with the other gender, can contribute to forming stereotypes in the child's mindset? So, what are your views on this, Shreya?
Yes, ma'am. As we all know, school is the only education institution wherein average person spends most of their time. It is a place where we learn subjects, different things, but our just school leaves us last impression on us. Gender roles are often taught at our schools. Girls' bodies are subjected to moral policing, shamed, and treated as a distraction for boys. Often, desk codes are imposed on girls, and their privacy is violated in the name of checking their dress code. Many schools all across the country tend to mandate a strict dress code and thought having a dress code is not bad, but giving that moral and typical description is many make girls wear salwar kameez against Western clothes because they think that Western clothes corrupt minds of young children. And they even discourage a boy and girl sitting together on a bench, which is kind ironical. Seeing that schools are a place to learn and move towards prosperity and development, but the schools in our country seems to do the opposite. The thing of not letting a girl and a boy sit together or even a talk has created a bad thinking in the young minds of our society, which leads them to assume that a boy and girl, as if in a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship, whenever they see someone like this outside or even inside of this like setting. So I think it is kind of a bad thing.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Shreya. Thank you so much. So, yes, like if we say that starting from young age, like we can also say that the schools, in schools, like girls are told that their skirts should be of a certain knee length, their hair should be properly tied up with like hair oil and plaits and all that. And yes, in case of boys, they are told that they can't keep long hair. So I suppose like starting से ही the students उनको सब चीजें बोली जाती हैं, तो वो चीज उनके तो ये सब चीजें क्या होती हैं कि धीरे धीरे स्टीरियोटाइप बन जाती है बच्चों के दिमाग में. So then we can move to Riddhi. Riddhi, what do you feel about it?
Right. So, to establish the pretext to this question, we live in a society that has always been dominated by stereotypes and it enjoys assigning certain roles and behavioral norms to genders. But unfortunately, for the longest time, schools and educational institutes have also bolstered or uplifted this sad stereotype intentionally or subconsciously. So, moral policing that is generally witnessed in school revolves around looking down upon the things that are associated with gender. For example, the enforcement of dress codes and a few other moral policing methods are the embodiment of certain preconceived rigid notions of society. For example, dress codes for girls that impose restrictions like wearing skirts till a certain length, ma'am, like you rightly mentioned, wearing hair in a certain way, reflect the sad and very absurd thought that females provoke men by what they wear and how they behave and carry themselves. Same seems to be the thought process behind painting a friendly relation between boys and girls as a sin, that females are a distraction for males and they must monitor what they do, how they behave, and what they wear around males. This miserable thought leads to moral policing through dress codes, is what reinforces the unfortunate prevalent notion in our society that men are not accountable for their actions. And it is the woman who is at fault for provoking the man and hence justifies the man's behavior. But dress codes and behavioral norms are also detrimental for boys, which we cannot forget. These norms often tend to enforce toxic masculinity standards onto boys. Feminine boys are often shamed for their ways, that they are not man enough, that how can you behave like a girl? And aggressive attributes of boys are applauded. Boys are applauded when they're aggressive or when they're dismissive towards others, which indirectly normalizes the superiority of males among the two societally accepted genders. But this does not imply that dress code should be completely discarded or any other school norm should be completely discarded, because they ensure some sort of equality in educational institutions, which otherwise would not have been striped. But we should be careful that the preconceived notions or the patriarchal notions that are in our minds should not be indirectly enforced through them. Last point I'd like to touch upon is the queer students, part of the LGBTQ community. The developmental stages of students, ages of teenage, they are very haywire and they don't know what is going on. That's why they're called the developmental stages. And in these stages, when people cannot conform to certain genders, these queer students, they're often bullied and shamed and made to feel something is wrong with them. And even though this toxic environment of schooling may be very covert, it may not be evident outside, but it reinforces the stereotypes that students notice otherwise. This is what I think.
Okay. Thank you, Riddhi. Thank you so much. Next, we can hear the views from Shivani. Yes, Shivani, do we have you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please go ahead.
Ma'am, I think sitting with opposite gender and opposite sex is not a bad thing. It must be quite common in all schools that in especially in co-ed schools that girls and boys usually mix up and they have a good relationship with others. Okay, and in my opinion, the in my opinion, the restrictions on girls in schools that you should tie your hair properly, wear the salwar and kameez, and having a dupatta around you. This leads to has stereotypes in the minds of child that they are whether they wear a western skirts or a shirts in schools, they will lead to distraction. It will lead to distraction. I think this is not as much, so it's a quite familiar with all of us that we have attraction towards opposite gender in this age also. So, but it not leads to moral policing. But for example, that a girl and a boy is sitting together, that most of the people take them wrong. That whether they, but in some cases there are something discussing good also. So I think this mindset of our teachers and uh, other people is wrong about that the girl or a boy should not be sit together. So in my opinion, a girl and boy should be sit together and have something good discussion about the prosperity and a welfare of a society. So that's my view. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Shivani. Thank you. So, Tejas, like maximum times, moral policing is done by someone you know. How do you think that one should respond to it and rather not stay quiet and listen?
Yeah, so when someone we know or even love does something like this, it is completely natural to be hurt or sad and not being able to speak out. but it is not advisable to straight up chastise them, and nor should one stop talking to them. The best method to deal with such a situation is to sit and talk and use the undervalued power of words to incite them with this social issue. I agree that your adult known ones, might just be looking out for you because they care about you and have seen much more of this world than you have. But I also believe that you have enough knowledge to know what to wear, when to wear, how to dress up appropriately, wear clothes of your choice. I mean, one is smart enough to do so. And I can say that with complete confidence because girls have a much better dressing sense than us boys. In addition to that, I would like to say that I'm tired of watching girls being treated as an object and being grateful for something as basic as education. I hate it when my classmates are misjudged as a mere distraction to us. Dress codes include not having long nails, not wearing nail paint, wearing skirts till a certain length, and so on, as everyone rightfully mentioned. But girls start to face moral policing for talking to male classmates, often making teachers and other adults think they are distraction to boys. Where is the equality here? Why are girls taught not to distract? Why are girls taught not to distract boys rather than teaching boys not to get distracted? Why, in case of adults, girls taught not to get harassed rather than teaching boys to respect them? This is a very important issue because this can form stereotype in one's mind, and the lack of choice, being judged on simple things, can scar one's mind for a lifetime, making them insecure and not strong and independent women in the future, which this country desperately needs.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tejas. Then we can hear the viewpoints of Ovi.
So, in my opinion, cases wherein people have failed to speak out about moral policing might mainly be because they're probably not aware of their rights or they're ignorant about their freedom. And for those who have been brave enough to speak up, I can very surely say that they're many times silenced by people in power. So, at the end of the day, there's a very non existent and unstructured mechanism to actually deal with the social evil like moral policing. In order to comprehend their energy, one must understand their mindset, and hence the mentality of people being too conservative is one main reason for the existence of moral policing. The basic fundamental right, that is, right to life, or the right to liberty, right to freedom, and right to privacy, are so heavily threatened when it comes to moral policing that in India there are countless cases that I can mention to you where authorities of educational institutions have gone to the extent of trying to dictate what kinds of clothes can be worn by the female students of campus, even putting a stop to such an extent that they even put a stop on skirts and jeans too. I believe when we are kids, we're still growing and we're not fully aware of things around us which are morally correct. And thus, it is the responsibility of our elders around us to provide us with such an environment which is unbiased and actually helps us to gain a neutral perspective on things so that in the future, when we grow up, we may be able to curb such social evils like moral policing. Since many of us present here are soon going to be adult citizens of the country, I think it's very necessary for us to be well aware of our rights so that when something unfair like this takes place with us, we can fight against it with the law by our side. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Ovi. Thank you so much. Now, next we can move to Jyoti. So, Jyoti, in your opinion, how can teachers and school staff come forward and protect students from unnecessary moral policing by calling out others? So, what do you feel about it?
First of all, I can make it simple. According to me, teachers and staffs plays an important role in controlling this practice. According to me, teachers and staff members can educate others for this that this practice is wrong when they do any crime or do illegal activities. But according to me, the teachers and school staffs can aware more and more people about this, more and more people about this, and control this practice everywhere. So according to me, it's not bad, but some people made it bad by cross its limits and do illegal work. So teachers and school staffs plays very important role according to me. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Jyoti. Thank you so much. So, yes, like we can spread awareness, we can educate the people about the thing. एंड यस क्या होता है कि व्हाट वी से ना कि गलत करने से ज्यादा गलत होता है कि जो बंदा गलत कर रहा है उससे ज्यादा गलत होता है जो बंदा गलत होते हुए देख रहा है, राइट? सो वी शुड ऑलवेज raise our voice and stand for the wrong. Okay, so next we can move to Akriti. Akriti, what do you feel about it?
Ma'am, so basically, school comprises a very very huge part of childhood. In fact, like one third of our childhood is spent in school, and that's why students, teachers, peers, whoever staff plays a very important role in school as well. And I feel like in your childhood, because you're in your formative years, anything that happens, things around you, your surroundings, your environment, or instances that have happened will definitely play a very very deep impact on your life later on in the later stages of your life, like adulthood. And that's why I think that the environment in school, that's why is very very important. Like example, many people mentioned before, dress code. Dress code is usually imposed upon girls, that okay, no, your skirt should not be up, like your knees should not be visible,
Right.
your shoulders should not be visible. And the same thing with boys, even though they're not morally policed in terms of their dress code, they are morally policed in terms of, oh no, don't stop behaving like a girl, stop whining like a girl. And I think this is the main problem, because it really instills and reinforces stereotypes that we have already set in our society. Example, oh no, what are you wearing? Are you literally going to go out like that in public? Like you're probably, going to get harassed. So this idea reinforces, it basically tells students that no, the victim is the one to blame, and not the person who's actually harassing. It's not, I do not have to change my clothes to fit the person, to fit public around me. You're supposed to change the mindset of people who are harassing others.
Absolutely.
Rather than controlling and subduing girls and anybody who faces this. Same thing with boys. Man up. Why do I need to man up? Boys don't have to do that. You can express your emotions in any way, shape, or form that you want. You don't have to, morally police me in such a way. I think the main reason why such things come up in society is because of a very psychological factor, which is control. Society loves control.
Yes.
We love to control individuals and subdue them and, morally police them. And I think what is something that is really interesting is that if you don't fit into society's normal standards, you're going to be controlled. You're not conservative, you're too open, or you're too much like, you're encouraging too much of Western ideas. And again, this is definitely not the right way that our society should be stepping into. And that's why school plays a very important role. Teachers and staff should stop morally policing girls and boys, or anybody for that matter. Even, I think the previous speaker mentioned about the LGBTQ plus community. Yes, stop morally policing them. They're a part of our society and we need to accept them as they are. Instead of telling them, no, there's something wrong with you and your notions and what you are as a person.
Right.
And that's why school and staff plays an extremely important role, because they need to be accepting. Not only that, even peers, like example, even peers can morally police each other. And because, example, you're a child who's been brought up in a very conservative society, and you've been taught these certain stereotypes and morals and whatever. As you grow up, these thoughts and these opinions will start to become very subconscious and instinctual. So therefore you will start to impose these on others, and therefore it becomes like a very it becomes like a domino effect, like a chain.
Yes.
Because once these opinions are so deeply fitted into your subconscious mind, it becomes very hard to change our opinions. And you really have to take a very important conscious effort to be like, no, this is not the right way and I need to change myself. And that's why our generation, it's extremely important to break this chain that has been going on for way too long. And even in school, if you're being morally policed, if one peer is morally policing another, don't be a bystander. You have to speak up, because you're just as bad. You're just as bad. You're just as bad as the person who's morally policing them.
Exactly.
So it's just not the it's not only the responsibility of teachers and staff, it's the responsibility of everyone.
Individual, right?
Every single individual is a very important one. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Then we can move to Aarini. Yes, Aarini, what do you feel about it?
So basically, for me, the whole thing about moral policing, it starts at home
Hmm.
and it starts in school. So at home, most of the girls would probably have heard, girls should not stay outside after it's dark, girls should not laugh, etc. So I personally have experienced it. But even in school, like there are many ways where how teachers and different staff basically talk about how girls should not do this, in the sense that, oh, you should not keep your nails so long, you should not, even like you should not keep your hair so short. That's also come up a
Hmm.
lot of times. It's happened to me as well. Then if your hair is long, you need to tie it up or you need to braid it or something. All these things are affecting girls personally as well as in a society. you know when you're telling somebody to stop dressing in a particular way when you're in school, even though somebody is not comfortable,
Hmm.
that kind of takes away the individuality of a person, that uniqueness of a person. So some ways that the school staff or the teachers can work towards protecting people from, or students from modern policing, is by basically helping the students realizing how they're being targeted, you know then spreading education, the correct education, in the sense that you should be judged on your thoughts or your thought process or what you're saying, not on the way you look or the way you're dressing. They should promote a friendship between different genders. They should talk proactively
Hmm.
to the students. They should have a discussion. It should not be a one way street of communication where they're saying, don't do this, don't do that. They should have a discussion, because there are so many people who are hypocrites, even in families. Like, they talk about how women should not wear pants and shirts, but then they won't say anything if they see a female police officer wearing the same thing. So these sort of things, they need to be developed in school at first, so that students are not targeted and they do not target others as well in the future. There are things like imposing compulsory uniform. Like, for me, talking personally, I am not comfortable wearing a skirt. I'm like a real sports person, so like wearing skirts is completely out of question for me. And it gets really uncomfortable in schools as well. So, and I have been like in around like 13, 14 schools by now. So I have always noticed, especially in India,
Hmm.
you have to wear a skirt, and boys either wear pants or they wear shorts. But if you're looking at somebody like me or a few other girls, they might not like it. So that freedom should be given. And I'm not going to go into removing school uniform or anything, because that's like a totally different debate.
Hmm.
But some other methods like gender segregation should be avoided. It's been noticed in a lot of schools that only boys are getting to play sports like football or cricket or something, and girls are being, they are just playing dodgeball together, or
And
they're playing
also,
football or something.
आर्यनी, we are having like teams in schools में teams होती है ना, तो girls versus like schools में क्या होता है हमेशा girls versus boys. Why don't we have a mixed team, like proper girls and boys की? We can
Yeah,
have mixed teams.
exactly. There are no mixed teams. There are separate teams that are developed in schools, and then you should also talk with the parents. The teachers should talk to the parents. Like, have a one-on-one with parents and talk about how it's unnecessary now talking about how you're dressing up, because if at the end of the day you're in the 21st century, you need to get out of that old stereotypical memory, because if you're talking about following even religion for that matter, that's why you do not want your child to dress that way or behave that way, because in the name of religion. So that kind of a thing, then people need to realize that that was a situation 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. And if people can accept a kind of like a scientific evolvement that's going on, why can't there be why can't they evolve their thoughts, in a way that the 21st century suits them? I'm not saying that, like Western culture should completely come in. No, you should respect your culture, you should celebrate your culture, but in a way where people get to be free and they decide what they want to do. In places like actually almost everywhere in India, it's been noticed that women are always judged with who they're talking to, what they're wearing when they're roaming around somewhere.
Right.
So that sort of a thing, it's kind of developed the thought that, women always have someone watching them. And that increases fear as well. That takes away the right of safety, which is not right at the end of the day. I think everybody here will agree with me that it's not right. That's what
And also, Aarini, like people are more concerned about the things like कि लोग हमारे बारे में क्या सोचेंगे? What
exactly that's the
other
typical
people?
Indian mentality.
Yes.
And that's how girls have also like been told, don't do this, don't do that, because family members also think about log kya sochenge, like what will our reputation in society be at the end of the day, which I feel is affecting women a lot.
Absolutely.
And I think there was a news this morning as well that a UP girl was killed because she was found wearing jeans or something like that. So that sort of a thing is inhumane, and this should stop now. Like moral policing is leading to a lot of damage. I'm not sure if you remember, but Sania Mirza, I think, was once accused of fatwa when she was, because of the way she was dressing on a tennis court. She eventually had to hire bodyguards because she felt threatened.
Yes.
That safety is not felt in our country. And I think most of the girls here can agree with that. It's like you're walking on the road. You always have to be careful if somebody is, around you. So that sort of a thing is what is, kind of bringing in male supremacy. And it's also kind of taking away our right to be comfortable like anywhere we go the way men are able to. So in the end, I would just like to say indecent behavior lies in the eyes of the beholder. And if a short skirt or a guy wearing shorts is seen as indecent, the problem is in the education given to those who see it as indecent.
Okay. Thank you so much, Aarini. Thank you so much. Then we can move to Vanshika. So, Vanshika, moral policing is often done in the name of religion, culture, values, and is not even considered a crime. So, what are your viewpoints on the same?
Yes, as moral policing is a set of values that are being adopted and followed by everyone in our country. So basically, India has several vigilant groups that claim to protect the Indian culture, but some of them really don't protect them. In fact, they spoil them. They misuse the morals in the name of religion and culture. But we should be vigilant and think what is actually right for us and follow the right morals. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanshika. Thank you so much. So yes, like I would also like to share something on this. So what I feel is like it's okay, it's okay to wear what you are comfortable in, be it clothes, be it makeup. It's okay if guys use makeup, like boys use makeup. And a boy's favorite color can be pink, and a girl's favorite color cannot be pink. That's also okay. And a boy and a girl can be friends. And like, why does the pados wali auntie that stares at the girl whose male friend has just dropped her home? After all, we are living in a democratic country where every individual, regardless of their gender, has the equal rights which are being promised by the constitution. So now we can move to Tanmay. Tanmay, what do you feel about it?
Ma'am, when it comes to traditions and culture, I think we have been nurtured by by the elders in our family in a very proper way, and we do follow our culture, traditions, and we are proud of it. And like it is our responsibility to cherish our culture and heritage. And as a symbol of today's generation, I feel proud to say that I do follow the traditions. Like in many of the festivals, I do wear traditional clothes. I do come down before all the elders. I do wake up early. Like we follow all the traditions. But then when it comes, like for example, when we like to celebrate the festivals in our way, we are pressurized, we are stopped from doing that. Like for example, if for example Diwali, if we are after celebrating it with our family, celebrating it in a cultural way, if we go and celebrate it with our friends, so that time we are stopped and we are pressurized. We are said that no, it is not in our traditions and you are not supposed to do. So I think it's wrong. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tanmay. Thank you so much. Next, we can hear the viewpoints of Shreya.
Yes, ma'am. As we know, as if a couple hugs by a beach, it's incident. They say if girls don't wear a burqa, it's crime in the eyes of Allah. They say if a boy and girl hold hands, it's incident. And personally, I like to wear shorts in summer, but according to some uncles and aunties, it is incident because it attracts some boys. So, so now you all tell me who gave the authority to dictate someone's life. I walk somewhere, it's my civil right. I go to beach, it's my civil right. And even if someone kisses his partner, it's their civil right. It's all legal. The Article 21 of the Indian Constitution dictates that any citizen of the Union of India shall not be deprived of his or her personal and civil liberties except according to procedures established by law. And if anyone knows, then kindly tell me how does anything are against the law? If this is called moral police, see, this is called moral police. See a married couple kiss by the beach. They beat and man the strip the girl, harass her, molest her, and then they say it's all cause they kissed and they portrayed a incident behavior. Now tell me, is it right? And what did the couple was that decent? What does the constitution of country allows such a behavior with any of the fellow citizens? We have noticed many groups like seeing that destroying paintings like of the Sangha Parivar members attack and wreak havoc on exhibition portraying the works of a fine arts called Chandramohan of MS University. He was first physically manhandled and injured by the vigilant group and later was arrested by the police. That charge frame against the you can say artist was that he was hurt religion sentiments. Again, giving way to the boring and burning question as to how far can one ignoring the law and taking it their own hands and just to satisfy some sentimental. I think according to me it's wrong, very wrong.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Shreya. Thank you so much. Next, we can move to Shivani. So, Shivani, moral policing happens in the name of indecent behavior, where not only teenagers but adults are also not allowed to make their choices. So, what is your take on this?
Yes, ma'am, I totally agree with your statement that the moral policing is done with indecent behavior by the moral policers. As you have heard in the case, as few years back in the case Maharashtra, uh, Maharashtra it is Maharashtra the moral policers done the lathi charge on the young couples and the youth for celebrating Valentine's Day on the 14th of November,
It
14th
happened.
of February. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it happened in the Maharashtra. So in my opinion, moral policers should change their way to deal with the adults and young couples. It is not only teenagers and adults also. They make their choice. They cannot make their choices. In especially I would like to tell that in the locality of Punjab, girls are bounded on many restrictions. They have to wear a dupatta around it. They have no right to wear a they have to not right to wear a western dress and move around the locality, especially in the area of Punjab. And many restrictions are bounded on the women and girls, that they should go outside with their father or their brother. So, in my opinion, though moral policers our moral policers should have choose a better way to deal with young ones, and also spread an awareness that not to deal with such type of issues. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Shivani. Next, we would love to hear Riddhi.
Right. So a few things that I think we all need to discuss is India is a country that has many religions, cultures, traditions, all residing together. But pay attention to the fact that I don't say residing in harmony. I just say they're residing together. And each of these religions, each of these traditions and cultures have their own set of morals and have their own set of definitions of what they think is obscenity or indecency. So, even in our Indian Penal Codes or Constitution, sections 292 to 294 of the Indian Penal Code deal with how to manage obscenity. But even in that, we as a country have failed to define what obscene or what are the Indian morals that all should follow. So, given that we are a diverse country, there are so many morals that different religions impose on everybody and want everyone to follow. And I think this is where the more aggressive nature of moral policing comes into being, because there is no consensus on what is moral policing. Sorry, on what is morality, what are the Indian morals, or what is known as obscenity. So we don't have an consensus of what the definition is, and that is giving way to more aggressive moral policing. On that background, I think we all need to aim to live in a society where we all can coexist. It is not imperative for us to comprehend the behavior or the morals of someone else. I don't have to understand how the LGBTQ community works. I don't have to understand why they are attracted to the same sex. I don't have to understand what morals they follow. I just need to know that these morals exist. They have the right to abide by these morals. And we, as a country that is so diverse and are so proud of being diverse, we need to reach to a point in society where we can coexist. And this kind of mentality is desperately needed to be cultivated from a young age, which is in school, and schools play a very important role in cultivating such a mentality. Coming to the point of moral policing being done in the name of religion and cultural values, mentioning that there is no consensus on what is the definition of obscenity or what is morality in India. It is a noteworthy argument that artists or filmmakers or all these artists who put up their work also come under a lot of scrutiny by different religions and by different vigilante groups or moral vigilantes as we call them. It's because again there is no consensus on what is obscenity or what morals Indians should follow. So the artists need to cater or need to change their work or need to alter their work and conform it with each and every one of these religious or morals that various religions in India want to dictate on others. And what we're doing in this way is we are curbing free speech, we are curbing freedom of expression, and we are curbing what is mentioned in Article 19, which is freedom of expression and speech and expression in India. And I think what all we need to understand is that people abide by different morals and they have different definitions of indecency and obscenity. What few of you think is indecent or immoral, I might not think it's indecent or moral. And we should be able to respect each other's views and again coexist. And I think if we really think about the topic, do we want moral policing to cease to exist? I don't think moral policing should cease to exist, but we can always monitor the ways in which our morals are expressed, right? Morality is again something that is not agreed upon. There is no concrete definition of what Indian morals are. So how are you policing something that is so vague and so ambiguous, right? So what we can all try and do is keep in mind the vague morals or vague traditions that India has been following, and try and conform to them how much ever we want. And if it fits in our morals, then well and good. If not, then I think we can all coexist and learn to respect each other.
Okay. Thank you, Riddhi. Thank you so much. Then a last question that I would like to ask all the participants over here. So, is there if there is one thing you would like to say to the so-called moral policers, what would it be? And then we can go with Tejas.
Yeah, so keeping all the culture, religion, morals aside, moral policing is simply an act by frustrated men who have nothing else to do in their lives but bully people around.
Hmm.
So, if I was to talk to these unlawful goons, let's call them moral policers for the time being, I just tried to extract this misconception out of their mind and try to change their mindset into respecting women and conveying that a girl's identity is by her character, not the clothes she wears. I'd like to remind them of their duties as a man towards the female figures in their lives, to respect them and to give them the same freedom of choice that they got, and let them decide for themselves and not the society to do so. Unethical moral policing refers to enforcing the so called morality on individuals that engage in quote unquote immoral acts. It is performed by vigilante groups who take immense pride in their culture and sometimes to the extreme. So, in order to protect this Indian culture, which actually doesn't exist, but it does in their minds, from westernization, these vigilantes mostly target unmarried couples and either A, beat them and separate them, or B, force them to get married on the spot, even if they are just hanging out together. Just by legalizing a relationship, you cannot save the Indian culture. According to these goons, love has no place in the Indian culture. Then would these fanatics care to explain the existence of Lord Kamdev, the god of love in Indian mythology? Apparently, they believe that they have the right to take decisions from every woman in India to protect westernization. But it must be told that this isn't westernization of Indian culture. It's just that you can't stick to a million year old tradition which doesn't exist for a lifetime. You need to upgrade your thinking process. Otherwise, there would be time where India will become a superficially developed nation, but deep inside its lanes will exist people supporting inexistent and meaningless ideas, which they mistakenly believe are a part of Indian tradition and Indian culture. That's it.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Tejas. Thank you so much. Next, we would love to hear Ovi. Ovi, please go ahead.
Yeah, so before I answer, I'd like to say that I absolutely agree with whatever all the participants have said, because especially the speeches or the answers given by Aarini, Akriti, and Riddhi, right? I would have loved to add it on, but I'll do so right now. So, and everybody else as well. So, be it an adult woman being publicly harassed, both verbally and physically, just because she was exercising in a park wearing a sports bra with her friends, with some music in the background, or basically everything which is not so Indian in nature, whether it may be a dress, a girl going out alone at night with boys, which is apparently something considered as much uncultured. Moral policing takes place regardless of age. So when I say that I believe people are brainwashed by the ideologies of moral policing, I think it's why, because many people also support the activities of moral policing in a way, probably because they feel that the Indian culture is at stake and endangered since the westernization has taken place, and that the younger generation makes more open minded and choices, and they are free in terms of food, habits, or dresses. Without even considering age, gender, background, or even any other characteristic which sets one human apart from the other, they probably feel it's their sole responsibility that some specific types of actions are not acceptable, and those people practicing it must be taught a lesson about how it affects the Indian culture. The knights of Indian culture do not fear the law, nor do they blink before wreaking havoc on the innocent and unassuming citizens, often leave victims with detrimental harm. Is this what protecting cultural dignity really means? Wearing what you want to wear in a country which fought for its freedom for a good part of 200 years is unknowingly opening the gates for hypocrites of the 21st century to barge in and beat you black and blue without any regret of the violation of your own privacy or the very basic of human rights. if there was one thing I would like to do rather than say to these moral police people, police or to the people who actually practice moral policing, would be to possibly provide them with adequate education and awareness about the disastrous impacts of moral policing, and then a wake-up call about how times are actually changing and that we must change with the change in order to successfully thrive in the world and create an egalitarian society. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ovi. Thank you. Next, we would love to hear Jyoti. Yes, Jyoti, what? Please go ahead. Okay. Jyoti, please go ahead. You're on mute. Jyoti, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please go ahead.
As we all know that culture plays a very important role in everybody's life, and vision groups can save our cultures, values, and religions, and it saves us from degradations of cultures. But it is in only in a limited or a limited way. But I would like to say that moral policing is right when it saves our culture, but it should be wrong when they cross their limits. And but according to me, it should be only in a disciplined or a peaceful way. When means because it had a very bad impacts on teenagers as well as adult people. So according to me, I would like to say that the moral policing is right whenever when it do work in a peaceful manner, or it should not contain violence. So they complete their practices when they do it very peacefully and in a disciplined manner, or without making anybody hurt and something else. So according to me, moral policing just only want to do that kind of things that immoral or against the Indian cultures. So thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you so much. Next, we would love to hear Akriti.
So I would love to hear all of your opinions, and it was really, really wonderful. I would like to start by mentioning, I think Riddhi mentioned about the penal code sections 292 to 294. And while I was researching, I was actually really, really shocked when I saw that. Like, obscenity, what is obscenity? Like, there is no definition for obscenity. What you think might be immoral might not be immoral for me, and vice versa. What I think might be immoral might not be immoral for you.
True.
And there is no such definition of these kind of things. And on one hand, the constitution says that this penal code is going to be used to deal with obscenity, where the beginning part of the constitution from article 15 to 21 you're talking about freedom. That is so ironic to me. And a very another point I'd like to mention is, we're talking about culture, traditions, and religion. Yes, I do accept the fact that yes, culture should be respected, traditions should be respected. These are our roots, and this is where we come from. But there's a certain line to it. Religion, let's talk about religion. What I might not be practicing the same religion as you. I might not be practicing any religion at all. So who are you to impose your opinions of your religion on me? Where did that freedom of me choosing my religion go? That freedom is completely lost, and these two parts of the constitution are extremely contradicting. And another thing I'd like to mention is moral policers. The word itself sounds so, I don't even know how to explain it in words. It's just so stupid, completely honest, to be completely honest. And I think the most important thing that I would like to say to moral policers is that, come on, it's the 21st century. It's you who needs to change your mindset and not me who needs to change my behavior. My behavior, my clothes, the way I speak, the way I portray myself is not effective in any way, shape, or form. Then who are you to police me? you know and this is completely, it's completely unnecessary. And I think someone mentioned that it's fine. uh, Someone also mentioned that moral policing takes place in very violent ways, and that's completely true. Moral policing can take place in very subtle small comments, as well as huge raiding of various bars and pubs and whatever.
Mhm.
And both of them are equally impactful and both of them are equally harmful. One is not, worse than the other. Yes, violence is, very harmful, but even these small subtle comments that, our padosi wali auntie makes every day can, really impact my mindset and the way I view myself. I think the most important thing over here is that I should be able to have the freedom
Hmm.
to control my body, my actions, and what I choose to do. And no one else should be the one telling me, no, you have to do this because what you're currently doing is immoral. Again, I'm saying this in quotes because immoral is such a vague term. And with that, I like to say that, come on, it's 21st century. You have to change your mindset because I'm not going to change myself.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Akriti. Thank you so much. Next, we would love to hear Aarini.
So the one thing I would like to say to the moral policers is stop what you're doing and stop caring about what other people are doing just because you think it's wrong. Focus on yourself. And for me, the main reason why people are acting this way is the fact that they're not getting the proper education that they should be relating to such things. And education, as I said earlier, is like really necessary for us to tackle this issue. So I would like to say that I feel sorry for them that they did not get the proper education that they should have, and I just want to tell them to stop what they're doing because it does not only hurt their own personal sentiments like of the woman, but it hurts everybody around them as well because he might be saying it to somebody else. That means he's definitely saying it to somebody in his own mother or daughter or sister or some relative, right? So that all I would like to say is that stop stop depriving women the right to choose what they want to do, with whom they want to do whatever they're doing, and to let them dress the way they want to because it is their freedom of expression and choice which is being violated here. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind. Thank you so much. So, after this, we come to the end of this discussion. So, yes, thank you, everyone. Thanks to all the lovely kids who have joined us for this wonderful discussion. And trust me, it was great interacting with all of you to host the discussion with you. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you very
Rana. It was a
much.
Thank
great
you. It was a
honor.
pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. It was wonderful to meet all these people and, listen to their wonderful opinions.
Definitely.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. And yes, thank you to all the audience, all the people who have joined us for this session. And I can see votes coming up for like shout outs for OVs there, then Akriti and Tejas. So, guys, just keep supporting, just keep voting to make your favorite participant win. So make sure before voting you have subscribed to the channel. So hit on that bell icon and subscribe to the channel. And yes, just keep voting, keep supporting, and keep commenting, keep subscribing. So thank you all of you, thank you all the participants, and to all the lovely audience. We'll see you. Till then, stay happy, stay home, and yes, stay away from Corona. Thank you.
Thank you so much,